What is up, guys? This is Tikoi, also known as Richard. We're gonna do a second game of the series today as the French, and we'll just be going over the progression into Castle Age. We've already done the first age, moving into the Feudal Age, and how to get there as quickly as possible, without any inconvenience or any problems, to maximize how quickly you can get that done. I'm just making the game the standard settings, as you can see here. If you need more details on how to play with the UI, how to create a custom game, or how to get into the feudal age correctly, what the build order is for the French in the early game, you can check out the first video in this series. It is linked down below. But yeah, let's jump into this game and show you what we do as the French to get as quickly to the Castle Age as possible. One thing you have to remember, the pros are doing it in about 8 minutes on the Rus, because there is a special strategy on the Rus. But for the French and most factions, you generally will get there around 8 minutes to about 10 minutes, depending on early raiding and where you're pushing your resources to. So right off the bat, we're going to use the 6 villagers, put them on the sheep, create 4 villagers on the town center, bind it to 2, bind the scout to 1, and we are going for sheep. We're going to push this first villager out to gold. Make sure we get these first 2 sheep. Double click them, send them back there. First villager produces a house. Come on, there we go. Shift click so you can produce the lumber mill after. Then we right click on the gold to remember to see the blue flag. Then while he's busy, check the back of your base first if you're looking for sheep. 9 times out of 10 there is going to be a sheep in the back of the base. And I'm shift clicking to get to the different positions so you can highlight the scout. He's moving that way. I'm seeing, okay, there's nothing going on there. Shift clicking there, shift clicking here. And that's how he's going to be moving as he's coming back. Third villager coming out. We're going to just keep him on the gold as well. This one is actually micromanaged because he has to be on the gold. He dropped off 10 gold already. But the goal now is we're just going to get the villagers on a consistent flowing rate. We're not wasting any resources, just keeping 1 or 2 going at the same, at all times. And I bound it to the key 2, so I can just click 2 and then keep a villager training. This is mountain pass, so there might be little gaps where people can get through. This actually has to go on food now. So we just right click on that sheep, bring all these sheep back so we don't run out of food. About 8 villagers is good. We're training a 9th one just to get 5 on gold. You want to have 5 on gold, 8 on food. That's going to be more than enough for what you need for Castle Age, because the focus is, if you click on a villager here, you can see to advance to the feudal age you need 400 food, 200 gold, and for the Castle Age it's 1,200 food and 600 gold. So we're already past 200 gold. We're just waiting for the villagers. Once the food is at 450, we'll quickly start that landmark. There we train another villager. They dropped off the food. We press T, School of Cavalry, and now you can see they're all starting to build that. They drop off the food, so this villager is straight going on to food again, so there's going to be a slow amount of food trickling in there. And while that's busy, you can see if I press H or 2, I am jumping back to the town center. But now I'm just going to keep on scouting, keep on finding sheep, seeing where the enemy can possibly come through and attack us from. I think they usually have an attack coming through around the 5.5 minute mark, so there will be an attack before we go to the Castle Age from your easy AI. They do attack, so you are able to practice this. to make sure you are getting this done as quick as possible. I'm moving the sheep out so you can see them better, but we're splitting them up onto the sheep, because sometimes what happens, if they all are on one sheep, the villagers will still be on sheep, but they'll just be standing behind the sheep and not actually harvesting them, because they're actually waiting for a spot. So now we just keep training villagers. We're going to try and go up to about 15 food and try and get another one onto gold. So this first one will go onto gold. Keep an eye on your population. You will need another house. So the first thing we'll do, you can do long mining, or harvesting, which means you'll send 2 villagers down to wood. For this purpose is getting to castle age as quick as possible, because you can train units with food and gold. You can train units with food and wood. So it's all depending on what you would like to do. But for this purpose sake, we're just going to try and rush castle age as quick as possible and not have any idle villagers at the same time. Once this reaches 600 gold, we're a bit on the high end of the gold right now, but that's okay. You can get some upgrades. We're not going to do any upgrades. We're just going to rush to castle age so you can see how to get to the castle age. And just watch the scout as I'm getting close here. I'm running close to the town center. I can re-click the sheep and bind it to the scout. You can see they start running after the scouts again. But now I'm running past the town center, right clicking on the town center as soon as the sheep are at the front door, and now I'm running away. That means all of the sheep will be as close as possible to, you know, the town center, and these villagers will have the most efficiency to farm the food while they're busy there. A nice defense at this point would be to have a few units out, but at the safe side, you know, versus players, they can see this as a disadvantage. Let's use this villager to build a second house, and we'll get one onto wood just so we can keep the wood trickling in. You see, we do have 600 gold. I'm gonna just deposit this gold. I'll move them straight over to food as well. There we go. So now we have 16 villagers on food. You can see how they're running around trying to find a spot. And this villager will put on wood. We'll take another one and put on wood. So our population is being monitored. Our gold is enough. We are just fast tracking the food as fast as possible. And if you press F11, you can actually see F11. You can see the time there. We're almost at the 8-minute mark. So we're trying not to have any idle villagers, because you'll fall behind the enemy if you don't stop training villagers. These ones are just to get enough so we can have a lumber mill, the 2 villagers that are on wood. But this is a very, very high push to the castle age. It is not necessarily the best strategy, but it will give you a time frame of, you know, what to expect or how quickly you can actually get to the castle age. We'll drop off the food, you'll hear the sound, and now we're going to go with the House of Technologies. And there's 2, I'm just going to cancel this. You have 2 buildings, House of the Royal Institute, which reduces the research, and the Guild Hall. Guild Hall gives you resources over time. Basically, it gives you 20 extra resources per 200 resources that you do have. So it scales incrementally, and once you do have, you know, a lot of resources, it around the 6,000-7,000 mark, it makes a big difference. You can train a whole army if you suddenly get, you know, an additional 6,000 or 7,000 gold in because of the rush that you did. You can see we do have enough wood now. I'm just going to move them over to the wood line here. I'll move the 4th villager over. This is perfect for wood for the early game. We'll push half the villagers back onto food, and the rest will push onto gold. And now we can focus on getting the Royal Knights, and we're going to just get 2 or 3 of them out and do a little attack, so you can see how strong the units are as the French when you do get this early castle age. We're just waiting for enough food, and the Royal Knights are 140 food and 100 gold. You can upgrade them so long because it doesn't use that much gold. We do have a lot on gold and a lot on food. These villagers on wood is just to train the blacksmith, because you get extra advantages on your French units by just having a blacksmith. You know, this is an easy AI, so we will be seeing an attack coming through very shortly. But for now, we are just getting that single upgrade and then moving them back onto food here. If you didn't get any early sheep, there is a hunt close by, which is a really good source of food, but it needs to be protected. Let's start training these horsemen. You can see there is a scout running around. We did pretty decent scouting. You can see this is like a mountain, so there's not necessarily going to be sheep here. Sometimes they are here in the little corners, but we did a pretty decent job in cleaning up all these sheep around here and the front ones that was here in the middle. So that's good enough for now. So we're just checking if there's any more there, because the sheep carcasses is going to get less now. And 2 to 3 nights is more than enough for that early harassment. We'll show you how to use the scout to find the best, you know, direction of approach. And you can see we are a little bit off center, or kind of in the middle, so the enemy is probably going to be right there as well. Excuse me if you heard that little hiccup. So my scout is bounded to 1, so if I double tap 1 I can see him immediately. I'm just going to wait for this 3rd cavalry veteran Royal Knight, really strong. We'll get the extra bonus damage there. By the time we get here, they'll probably have that upgrade as well, because it takes about a minute to get the upgrade. So you'll hear the sound of the last one coming out. We can actually start training villagers, sending it to wood. Okay, so this wood line, very exposed, very easily to raid, but not that big of a reward because it's only 1. He has some villagers here close to the base. There's some men-at-arms. The gold is where we want to be. You can see he has heavy units on gold. No spearmen, so if this was an enemy, this is perfect for what we are doing. Those villagers are done with the food, so we can send them over to wood right now, just because we are busy with a different strategy to get this raid in. So I am pressing attack and right clicking on the gold mine. If I have my scouts here to give them some vision by the time they get here, I'm binding them to 3, control 3, so I can see what's going on. You can even try and bait out those units. They're chasing down the scout here. You can see the scout is taking some fire there. It is really strong. But we want to get to these villagers. There we go. Charge the villagers. Make sure you get a little raid in there. The scout is just keeping vision on it. If you're taking fire, just back off. Make sure your charge is up, and then go back onto the villagers. Any exposed villagers, you just want to get 1 or 2 or 3 villagers if you can, and then back off your units. And that's how you're going to be raiding with the French. If you keep doing that, that's going to be the safest way to raid and not lose your units. See, they're gonna keep chasing the cavalry here, but they're out of position right now. So these units are exposed again. The charge is up again for the Royal Knights that have that extra damage on the charge. So we're just checking. The men-at-arms are slower than us. We don't have to care about them right now. If it was spearmen, different story. And that's a men-at-arm. Charge the villager. Get those kills on the villager. They'll probably garrison the villager. Remember to hold back every now and then and check on your own base so they don't have a counter attack. You can see we lost one knight there because we were just looking away, but that's a good 4 or 5 kills already on their economy. And because we've been consistently training villagers, plus getting these little mini raids in, it's gonna give you such a big economy lead to just keep hammering on this. And because I'm one full age ahead of him. For him to prioritize resources, he's spending 100 food and 20 gold on every single one of these men at arms that is actually training. And you can see the amount of damage that I'm taking. I'm not taking severe damage because of the units being upgraded. And then you can see garrisoned again. I'm just backing off my military units, but that's about 10 villagers, and we are quite in a lead right now. I did reach population cap, but you can see how significant my gold is. We didn't manage the villagers that well because we were focusing on the raid. I'm just going to surrender you here so you can see the statistics at the end. How quickly the villager difference makes a impact on your game to be victorious when you focus on the cavalry rush. You can do it in the second age, you can push for that third age if you know your enemy is playing for a late game, but that's a very, very fast castle age. So if you look here on the timeline, I'm going to click on total unit count on the villagers, and this difference, he's sitting on 15 villagers, we're almost on 30 villagers. We probably have about double the economy, so no matter where I'm pushing my resources to, I will overwhelm my enemy and probably finish this game in the castle age with men at arms, a few crossbowmen, and the siege upgrade in the blacksmith, so you can actually siege him down with rams, or you can go into an imperial age where you can just overwhelm him because you already have, you know, that unit advantage, that villager advantage, that economy advantage. And that was just to show you how quickly can you get actually into the castle age if you prioritize your resources correctly. And the focus of the French is cavalry. They have such good cavalry in the game. Be careful of spearmen. They will make your days very difficult, but like if you do see the men at arms, you don't have to worry too much about their attacks early in the game, especially because it's royal knights and veteran royal knights. But thank you very much. This was the second video of the series. We are aiming to do 4 to 6 videos, focusing all on the French, how to do your build orders, how to get everything perfect so you understand the faction and that you know exactly what to do when you decide to play the French against real players, or even just in normal skirmishes games against easy, medium or hard AIs. But thank you guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Please do give us a like and a subscribe if you want to see more content. We'll be focusing on Age of Empires for a long time. I do really enjoy strategy games. I used to play Command and Conquer in the olden days, Red Alert for the OG fans, but I'm really impressed with Age of Empires 4. I think it's a really solid game, and a lot of old StarCraft players are jumping back onto the strategy genre again, and it's a refreshing game of strategy. You know, if you are really into these type of things. I actually got my girlfriend to like and actually start playing this as well, so we're kind of teaching her along the way. We'll have some custom games against her soon, and we'll have that on the platform as well. But thank you very much guys, and hope you have a wonderful day. Remember to leave a like and a subscribe, and chat to you soon.